Yeah, yikes. I was like, 6 is probably enough, you know? 15 sounds unimaginable. Long gone are those days. Now we just rock out of bed, roll over, pull up our green screen, turn on our lights, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, that ship has sailed, TJ, long ago.
Can you comment on the architecture of this ship?
No, because it's sailed, and I'm not on it.
Okay, that's right, yeah. Neither am I, so...
and also, we've just totally missed this introduction. There's a mage, there's a druid, there might be a rogue, for all I know. But they have started the game of Hearthstone, and NoHandsGamer with the druid has got a pretty pleasant-looking hand. And a peasant-looking hand as well.
Yeah, it is quite pleasant, to be honest. Options here include coin, Razormane, Battle Guard, and Encumbered Pack Mule, or pass. So, you know, I think the Battle Guard plus the Pack Mule is much more tempo on average than passing.
I mean, there was Org Merchant into Peasant.
Yeah.
They were things he could have done.
Good spot, Neil.
Thank you. About
now we can go on.
Now. Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't get to stick it. The teacher's pet would have been very nice going into turn 3 if he'd managed to get this divine shield set up, but Fr0zen took the evasive action in time.
Yeah. Fire Seal is a good pickup. Fr0zen can go Incanter's Flow, and then next turn go for like Ping, Hot Streak, Fire Sale, which should clear the board. Obviously, No Hands is going to get an extra draw from the Peasant, but from Fr0zen's perspective, it doesn't seem like he's entirely worried about that. The Oracle Balloon picked up is interesting, but I think that's going to be for refill because he's going to get the composting online now.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty good. This is a pretty bad matchup for the Druid, but some Divine Shield and early composting and Oracle in hand for your refill, followed by a Teacher's Pet. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that's a good situation, as good as you're going to get for the Druid in this matchup. I'm sure you can think of a better situation, but it's pretty good.
Devolving missiles! Holy moly.
That's also pretty good.
Yep, he's also going to get a draw here, just going to get the Ice Barrier out of the way. We're a turn before Arbor up, so he can afford to wait a turn and then next turn go for Devolving Missiles, Fire Sale, whatever.
That's a miss.
Devolving
Swing
Missiles
and a miss.
actually is in the Arcane Spell School, so that's a full, not only a pretty good clear, most likely, but a full quest completion.
And his opponent will undraw 3 cards.
Potentially.
If the
allegedly
themselves.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
How does that even work? How's that?
Let's not pin him on that right now, okay?
1, 2, 3.
Oh!
Easy. Told you.
God! No Hands in shambles.
Absolutely ruined. Fr0zen didn't even blink. He's like, yeah, well, that's what that card's supposed to. Kind of like I explained. That's what the card's supposed to do. On the upside, if he can get another 1,000,000 boars, he could get the Sword of No Truths. Infinite Truths. Oh my goodness. Forgetting my references.
Isn't it sort of 1,000 truths?
Infinite, none, 1,000, somewhere in between the two. So I averaged it out okay.
I'm not a mathematician, but couldn't infinite also be 1,000? Right? Isn't that how it works? Like,
not quite how it works.
Okay, I'll stop there then.
Infinite truths is a lot of truths anyway. Right. So trying to get something going now, but like you say, in shambles I think was probably the best descriptive
Yep.
bit there.
So what do we got?
A bit like that piece of casting was also in shambles at the same time.
A little awkward that he wants the damage from Brain Freeze, but needs a Frost to complete the quest.
Also, clearing up this board the expensive way is... It's not ideal. You know there's stuff going on from No Hands. Might even know that there's either an Oracle or an Arbor up hanging out, chilling in that hand. Because it's been there for some time on the left. This is actually quite an expensive clear, so he's tried to do it by keeping the fire sale to stop No Hands from being able to do some sort of crazy spam the board thing, which if Fr0zen had done it the other way with fire sale and pings and stuff, could have got him into trouble. So nicely looked after his hand.
Yep. Just keeping things under control. Smooth, clean, measured, patient.
Just like us.
Liquid. All you words used to describe Fr0zen.
Yep. Champion.
Wait a second. You can't be Fr0zen and liquid at the same time.
Oh, that's complicated. Has anyone informed them?
I don't know.
Are you going to gas him up?
I'm gonna send a strongly worded letter.
Dear Team Liquid, has come to our attention that one of your players is Fr0zen.
To whom it may
send
concern.
help. I don't think it concerned anybody apart from probably us two. All right, No Hands does have the reload and another composting, which probably won't actually get devolved into the ground. I mean, it's compost, so it probably will, but eventually.
Fr0zen can clear up some stuff.
And from where he sat, he needs to, because that Oracle could definitely be Arbor up.
Ooh, combustion?
Expensive, but...
Good combustion positioning.
Probably.
No Hands, honestly.
Yeah.
One thing that he's always good at is just plopping his minions on the board where they are the most annoying for what his opponent could possibly do. It looks like it's just going to be a combustion. This only really takes one minion off the board, though. And Lone Shark is...
Oh, there it is! He draws the Arbor up and he's still got the composting. A lot of damage and it's a lot of cards.
Was Fr0zen too patient with this fire sale?
Maybe?
I can spot a greedy boy from a mile away.
Alright, tell me where the greedy boy is, because I'm not very good at seeing them.
He's right there.
Cool. Wherever that is. Draw some more cards.
The man with the green shower curtain.
I think that's a painting waiting to be revealed, honestly.
If I win the season and qualify to the World Championship, I'll rip down this tarp, and behind it will be my most prized work of art.
Which you can have as an NFT for only $7 billion. Alright.
Alright, what are we looking at here? Fire Sale has to come out now, where we've blown past every other scenario. And then
so that would give
Ignite plus a ping.
Gives 5 cards, some coins.
Yeah, because the Moccasin... Oh no, it would give 6 cards, right? Because the Moccasin's the only minion without the composting?
Oh yeah, I got confused.
Oh no. The one of the something else doesn't have composting. What is it? The squirrel, because he traded in the teacher's pet with the composting and drew it off, I believe. Maybe I'm incorrect. No, I might be incorrect. I'm trying to look. Yeah. The squirrel was picked up off the draw from the composting, so the squirrel doesn't have it. So you're right. 5 cards is correct. Wait, he traded the fire sale?
What are we missing here? feel like we missed something significant in there. Maybe he felt it didn't kill enough. Was it not actually doing anything? Like, was it not enough? If he fire sales, maybe there's still lethal there anyway.
No. He's at 15. He could have fire sale, ignite, pinged, and isolated the moccasin on the board. Obviously, that would have given No Hands a lot of cards, but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he was thinking that he didn't want to give the cards over. He was hoping that Arbor Up just wasn't going to be there. And then by not leaving... Right, because there wasn't lethal on board. It was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, it was a misread because he didn't Arbor Up the turn before. Because he was a greedy boy, remember? He didn't Arbor Up. So Fr0zen put him on not having it. Because the second he saw it, he shrugged in the sort of, why do you have that card kind of shrug that shruggy players do.
Yeah. And so he was hoping that because Arbor wasn't there, No Hands would have a dead turn because he left the board full, wouldn't be drawing cards, and Fr0zen go for a bigger swing. Yeah. I mean, I guess from his perspective, he needed a lot more things to happen than just the fire sale. He needed to like find a way to actually win the game instead of just deal with what's in front of him. It's a very difficult situation because by trading away the fire sale, you're not giving yourself a chance to kill that board anyway, right?
Right.
Trading away the only thing that would deal with the board. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough.
I know that whenever I find Fr0zen after this sort of decision and ask him, he always has an answer that totally overrides me. So, yeah.
Like, I guess the argument should be made on that turn because I don't see a problem with that play because he would just reload immediately and then what? You know, you top deck the second fire sale, sure. Like, one card in your deck. It was like the point leading up to that. There was like 2 other turns before that point where he could have used the fire sale, kept the board under control, and made it so composting was much more difficult anyway from that stage.
Yep.
So we'd have to go back even further, but I don't really see a problem with what he did in the end. Now we're going to move on. Aggro Druid versus the Garrote Rogue. Fr0zen's got the Octobot opening. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, we've seen this already once today that the Octobot is just such a good card when pitted against this Druid. But there's no secret passage, there's no good follow-up. That swindle's going to need to be a good swindle. And No Hands also has the option just to trade in here and proc it. Obviously it slows down his own attack that way, but take the chance that it does damage to Fr0zen by procking it. And I must admit, this is the option I prefer. You've only got limited damage, you kind of have to get it in. But the downside is Fr0zen now has a 2-mana Shroud for the future.
Yep. And can actually do some work here with the second Octobot. Swindle can Brain Freeze. Now if No Hands doesn't proc this Octobot, then Fr0zen can Shroud, discount those. The rest of the double Garrote picked up though is not good. Those are 2 dead cards for at least a little bit of time.
Yeah, you can usually manage 1, which is the deck expects to draw 1. If you're playing a 2 of in a deck and you're hoping to draw a card, you get annoyed if you don't, so you've also got to expect 1. But both is cluttery, definitely, especially when you're in an urgent hurry to try and get control of the board. So he might have to Shroud next turn if he picks up a bad card, and that's going to get messy and slow if he's not careful. That's one way not to proc it.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Just sit there until he kills you and say, you know what? Never proc your Octobot. Ooh. You always do it. You can't have the lunacy, TJ. Put it down.
So, It was a bunny hopper response to Lango Attacker's Rogue versus Controller game against Fr0zen yesterday, where he asked if he considered playing Garrotes and then Deck of Lunacy to turn the bleeds into spells because he wasn't going to get there anyway. Wouldn't that be cool?
But he is going to get there if he wins.
just to do it for tempo. Double Garrote. You get a bunch of 1 mana, 4 mana spells. Oh.
Okay. What's your favourite 4 mana spell in that situation? Because I blank when you say things like 4 mana spells. I'm like, I don't know. I don't play things that aren't in my deck to start with. That would be last year.
Hold on, I actually need to look up some Overgrowth.
Okay, that's good. That's very good.
Got one.
So you can use that to combo with. Oh wait, you blew your combo up. But okay. Could you have turned Enraged Mankrik into an even bigger Enraged Mankrik? With the Deck of Lunacy? Is that how minions work?
Wait, so that would be a 7 mana spell for 3? Or no, sorry, 6 mana spell for 3 mana?
6.
That'd be cool.
But in the meantime, Fr0zen's just beating him up, and the Octobot still hasn't been procced, and he's got a handful of cards.
Yeah, I think his plan was to like play Arbor up to challenge the Octobot, but now, what are you gonna do? He got the Cold Neophyte, so he can't even play the Arbor up.
Got Peasant.
He certainly has a Peasant.
This is a horrible situation suddenly. Yep, well, he's dug this hole, so might as well jump in it.
But be careful.
Because it might be a rock.
Yeah. Oh, prep defreeze is some, not this turn, obviously. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's coming though.
You know what I mean.
Which means that Mankrik's really tasty looking, right?
Yeah. Can he go faster? Do you just shuffle a Garrote right now?
If you think he's going to do enough damage, there's not going to be much armor gained for the Druid, so you could just shuffle a Garrote. You could also just play a Field Contact in some worlds, but I like the Mankrik, just get this set up for this deep freeze.
Yeah. Field Contact could die to like a Park Panther. I feel like Park Panther would have come out to get rid of the Octobot though, so maybe you can have the read that he doesn't have it. But, yeah, I mean, look what happened last game when Fr0zen had a read.
Yeah.
No Hands is wild. He's unpredictable. You never know what he's going to do.
We never know what anybody's going to do.
That's fair.
All right. Well, this is going to be a pretty good turn, but it's not going to be huge. He's going to be able to load up the board with a lot of stuff. His Grandmaster plan of proccing the Octobot efficiently has turned into a bit of a mess. And the Octobot's going to reduce like 1 million cards. The good news for NoHandsGamer that he doesn't know is most of the cards that are going to be reduced don't cost much and are useless anyway.
Yeah, well, that's a good pickup.
It is. It is indeed.
Also has a step.
Too quiet.
Do you want to step the Plunderer to take control of the board right now?
It depends what he draws, but probably. I think that sounds... Oh, yeah!
Enraged!
That's good. That's good. That's good too. It's all good. Yeah. That's good too. That's pretty good.
This looks like a good turn.
Yep, he wants to kill the squirrel last, if he's killing the squirrel at all. So that way there's the least possible chance that squirrels could be baited by the acorn that is in the deck and run to it.
Maybe you leave it. Because you've got to put some of this damage face. I mean, you haven't got to hurry. You can just control the board, but take some damage to the face in the next couple of turns to get it over with.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about.
Yeah.
All the other stuff could have happened first, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you even leave the squirrel up, but you know, he wanted to protect his field contact, but that didn't happen anyway.
Shadow steps the Cult Neophyte.
Alright.
Also interesting. Still a heck of a turn.
Yeah, it looks alright, doesn't it?
Just a heck of a Hearthstone right there, you know?
Also, I think, having gone that way, I'd like to have seen the Garrote just shuffled in for 2.
Yeah, I mean, anything with
What
the extra mana or Shadow Stepping, something besides Cult Neophyte, because...
Because it doesn't do anything against minions?
Yeah.
Yeah?
The Cult Neophyte ship has also sailed.
And it's gone. Like, it's... Whew.
Yeah, it was in the... What do you call a group of ships?
A fleet.
A fleet, yeah. It was in the fleet of ships that left yesterday. So there was a good amount of them.
There were. There was a lot of ships sailed off yesterday.
I mean, NoHands is still making some annoying boards that aren't the easiest to deal with. I still got a bunch of... Well, I say a bunch, but it's not a bunch. It's 2. He's got 2 acorns in the deck.
From little acorns, mighty oak trees grow, TJ. You should know that by now.
Acorns can grow on more than just oak trees.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, you plant an acorn and you get, like, a beach in Florida?
Well, okay, I guess that was wrong.
It was.
So, just you implied that an oak tree was a singular thing.
I see, yeah.
Just with your tone. And there are...
I've got tone now?
Let me put it in a different way.
Man.
Let me put it in a different way. There are many different types of oak trees.
Okay.
And they all produce acorns.
Okay.
There we go.
Notice I just said oak A for about 4 times in a row and you just didn't pick up on it. I'm sad. Meanwhile, while we've been discussing the importance of trees and getting back to our roots, the grey bough has been picked up and Fr0zen has set up lethal.
Yep. By a good margin, too. There's lethal presented on board. It doesn't even include the garrotes from hand. Also has ways to get through these taunts with, like, I mean, anything. Grow, break.
Yeah.
Wonder.
Just hit the things, yeah.
All of it. NoHands is obviously going to play his turn out to the best of his ability. Try and make some Brazilian minions. Try and get this Divine Shield minion to make sure that it can trade into something on the other side of the board if he were to miraculously survive. But he will not, as Fr0zen will take game number 2. NoHands realized as soon as those Octobots came down that he was going to have to change up his game plan because he couldn't match tempo. And I think that was a good recognition. It's just Fr0zen ended up getting the Cult Neophyte, which blocked the Arbor up, which was probably what NoHands had his eyes on, or at least a big enough turn to get the composting down to try and go for a big swing turn, right? Try and hit the Oracle, Battle Guard, Greybow kind of turn. Right? And so then, once Fr0zen was getting a proc on that Octobot, at least NoHands would have this resilient board that wasn't just getting picked apart piece by piece, and might have a chance. So, it may have looked weird, it may have looked like he didn't really do much for a lot of the game, and Fr0zen ran away with it, but I honestly think that was the right call.
Yeah, I think it was pretty interesting, and it is something that is overlooked about this Druid deck. You can do nothing and get away with it. It's not Hunter, where imagine doing nothing with Face Hunter for 4 turns. Like, what's your comeback? Oh, now I'll play an Infestation. Not working. But yeah, with the Druid deck, you can just make those monstrous boards. So, interesting chance. He realised the trouble he was in and gave it a go. And he does now get to queue up the Fell Demon Hunter, which is a really good matchup into the Rogue. Especially, and I like this build, where He's just thrown in, do you want Zai? Do you want Il'gynoth? Do you want Zai? There's just an easy answer to that question. Just lob them both into the deck.
Yeah. Well, you say it's a really good matchup. However, it has... Healing is not the end-all, be-all against Rogue, right? Because if you give them enough time, they kill you from 30. The reason it's a good matchup is because you have ways to deal with any board that they create, right? And you also have ways to pressure yourself. And that pressure can be immense in the form of spell-damaged Fel Barrages, right? Furies, Chaos Strikes, Eldrazi Warblades, just shipping all the damage to face, and then ending the game with Jace on 8 is ideal. So...
Yeah, when you say the pressure's immense, I'd go with relentless. Like, it's just take another 4. Take 3 more. Here's 6 in the face. And before you know it, as the rogue with no healing, as we all know, because that's how rogues function, suddenly you're down to 14. And like you say, Jace will just kill you, or Il'gynoth weapon might just kill you if there's a Fury hanging about. So it's very difficult for the rogue. The rogue doesn't really have a great backup plan. If it tries to win with tempo, it likely just doesn't succeed. We know that Hunter's terrible into this deck, so, you know, you really have to get it done with a combo as the rogue most of the time. I realise it's not OTK as well. OTK, Demon Hunter, you know, a lot of those things apply, but even more so.
It is OTK.
Okay. No, but it's got the OTK in it, but it's a Fel OTK, not just a straight clean OTK quest version.
That's misleading. I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah. It's OTK with the Fel package.
Okay. I'm happy to go with whatever description. I don't think anyone's found what they like.
Actually, I changed my mind. We'll go with Fel.
Okay. Give me that. You comfortable? Final answer? Phone a friend?
Yeah, for now. We'll call it a day. I'll see you later. Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm back. Forgot.
You back?
Yeah.
We've got things to do here, TJ. Come on.
All right. Let's take a look at this game state. Fr0zen, pretty atrocious hand. Let's be honest. None of those cards are cards except for the Octobot that you want against Fel Demon Hunter. That, however, is certainly a card because it draws more cards. Those, however, are not the cards you want. It needs a field contact. Let's
absolutely.
Let's just what's the expression? Let's just call apples apples.
Sure. An apple. There are no apples.
That's an apple. Oh my gosh, this is so much damage.
Yeah,
Double
building up
with
really
another
fast.
Fel Barrage. I mean, next turn he could just tempo an Il'gynoth. To be honest.
Do you want to do that before you've seen a brain freeze? You might. It's definitely a possibility. I think next turn you probably just do some more barraging.
Yeah, or next turn you could just go, you know, Illidari Studies. If you hit Skull, you can just coin out the Skull. Seems fine as well. Now you have seen a brain freeze, but you also have field contact. So by playing Il'gynoth, you're kind of giving your opponent an excuse to like play field contact, which you might assume is in their hand, and then kill your Il'gynoth. And now a Fellscream Blast is picked up, so
yep. Now you want to sort of protect the Il'gynoth a little bit, yeah, absolutely.
None of these draw any cards. Philosophy does absolutely nothing. Dreadlord's Bite is a weapon. It's an extra damage. It clears some stuff off the board. I believe he could go Dreadlord's Bite, Hero Power. I guess you don't really want to coin out a Fel Barrage at this point. It's a little bit wasteful.
Do you want to stop the Shadow Step, or do you just want to insert 3 more points of hurting into the face? Here he goes. That's going to answer that question.
3? How naive.
He does save the... Yeah?
What?
He saves the other Fury because if he gets the the better weapon. He can just gain some health back as well later on and still play it on the same turn as Jace, so that's okay.
Yep. You can imagine we're going to be seeing a secret passage here. The argument is whether or not to shadow step the Octobot also.
Right. That's why there was a discussion, at least I was trying to generate a discussion at last turn because of this play. But if your opponent's shadow stepping Octobots, they're not killing you and they're on 16, so good luck.
Yeah.
Turn 6, you expect to not die next turn as well most of the time.
Yep. Bancrick, not super useful, so just going to see what else is there. He just wants card draw at this point. He doesn't really care too much about tempo. Find Swindle. What was his hand? Was it 6 or 7 cards on the other side?
I don't know. I've got to admit I don't know. There's a lot of garbage. It might have been 7, but I think 6.
Yeah. Yep, we're good. He's got 9 cards now. We're good. Still, though, none of them really do anything.
Malaysia always slows down the mess. Just hit him for another 3 while you're waiting.
No, I meant on Fr0zen side.
Oh, yeah, he's just got garbage, right? It's all
I mean,
combo that doesn't combo.
I feel contact, and we could be looking at a kill because he's got extra mana with the Conjure Biscuit.
It's like he's been like in the desert for days looking for food and finally comes across a can of beans. He's got no opener. He's just stuck there.
He's just, for the rest of eternity, he's going to be walking around the desert trying to find a rock to bang this can of beans into to try and open it. And then when he finally does find that rock, he's going to bang into it, and then all the beans are going to fall into the sand. And the metaphor in this situation, the beans in the sand is No Hands drawing Jace.
Yep, it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
He has got the field contact now, though, so things can change in a hurry. The tin opener, or the can opener, or whatever you call it over there.
All right, be careful. Don't drop those beans in the sand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gentle with that rock.
So much mana, so many cards. He's only got 9 cards left to go through. He can just get this done. 4 mana left, probably not enough.
He's so close.
It is actually so super close because he's still got preps in there.
So close to opening the can. I can practically taste the beans.
Oh, he's found the neophyte, which is a big deal. If this doesn't work, at least he can pick the beans out of the sand.
And brush them off. And that's a really old can of beans. Not much moisture left. Pretty easy to brush the sand off.
Absolutely.
Still an immense amount of mana, and he's just picking up cards and pointing them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's now can't afford to. Is he going to run out of time, TJ?
I think he did it. It looked like he gave a sigh of relief.
Does look calm.
Rope hit. No, rope didn't hit, right? That was just the... It looked for a second like the rope animation hit.
He needs the 1 point of damage from his own face sometimes here, given that it's not a perfect, cleary thing. It is lethal back the other way if he...
All right, there it is.
Back in. Yeah.
So that's some impressive stuff, right? Killing on 7 with that kind of opening. The decision's really paying off. Of, you know, not playing Bancrick for tempo, right? The secret passage turn, instead dumping the second secret passage, trying to just find more cards to dump. Because obviously tempo is not the way you win that matchup. You can try in the early game and just say, all right, if you don't have Immolation Aura, I'm probably going to win the game. But, you know, the only phrase I can come up with is that ship sails quickly. So once you get into the mid game, tempo doesn't matter because the Demon Hunter is going to find ways to kill your board regardless, and they can use it to heal up. You want to get that OTK, so getting as many cards out of his deck as he possibly could, getting the discounts, picking the Conjure Mana Biscuit, and then the execution of the turn was not the easiest thing. So I think that was very well done by Fr0zen.
Absolutely, proving once again what What a great player of combo-y things he is. Very clean. And there's us thinking maybe he didn't get off in time, but that sigh of relief came 15 seconds before the end of the turn. So that's why I wasn't actually sure if that was the sigh of relief. NoHand's best counter cue is the mirror. And we're here today in Europe with the similar comments, but if you're counter cueing the mirror, oof. Oof. Counter cueing mirrors.
No, we don't. But thus is the life of last hero standing. And then, you know, I don't know if it... I guess he did ban the Warrior Way. It was Warlock ban on the other side, away from NoHandsGamer. Fr0zen doesn't have the Warlock in his lineup. The deck that would be remaining at the very end of it would be Fr0zen's own Demon Hunter. If he were to take this victory and move into a game number 5, which is the Death Rattle, which I'm actually very curious about that matchup. Double Cold Neophyte, double Farwatch post against the Garrote Rogue. Quite an interesting proposition, I would say. So just for the sake of that, for science, I'm going to be rooting for NoHandsGamer in this game.
I'm always rooting for whoever is behind anyway. Not always, always. I am occasionally biased, but almost always rooting for whoever's behind. Unless we've had like 79 priest mirrors, like old-style priests, before priests killed people ever. And I've opened just one too many boxes, then sometimes maybe I want whoever is going to just get it over with to win. But usually, I want more games of Hearthstone. And yes, I want to see this Demon Hunter in action as much as you do, DJ.
We got ourselves a game of Hearthstone.
Cool. Why?
This is it's the battle of the bots. You kidding me? Look at this. They both have an immense amount of draw in their hands. Fr0zen can reduce like his deck. He can go Shroud, Swindle.
That's actually pretty ridiculous. Oh my goodness. We have first contact.
Wait. Is there a way that he can like try and hit? No, there's not.
Is there a way? I thought you were going to try and win the game on turn 3.
No. Yeah. Lethal! Adorable Infestation! Like hit Prize Plunder to get his own Octobot proc, but not no hands. But with only 3 mana, there's like no way that you're going to maneuver that situation. All right. I mean, this is just so good on both sides. Both players have just fire hands.
Is it potentially bad for the person who goes first here when they've both got crazy hands? Like the person who goes first spews stuff all over the board and goes, haha, I've got you. And the other one just uses all their removal spells to just pick off that stuff one at a time. And then they've got the upper hand. Is that
I mean, that just keeps happening until one player kills the other. So it's all about maximization of those turns, right? Went for a 5.
It's quiet.
Whoa.
Too quiet.
I feel like this game's a little too fast-paced for a 5. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, he can't see the magnitude of how good Fr0zen's hand is. Fr0zen is allowed to have, you know, a reduced Shadow Step or something in his hand. And NoHand's hand is so good, he's kind of... He can expect his hand to be better than Fr0zen's, I would think. Just because he can see his hand, it's like, well, if you've got better than this, good luck to you. And he might have better than this.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
You ever prep counterspell?
What are you trying to counter?
Literally anything.
Okay, sure. I mean, just for tempo, right?
Like every spell is just so high value in the rogue's arsenal. You get a Shroud, cool, less draw. You get a Brain Freeze, cool, one of your minions live. You get a Garrote, cool, you won. You get a Prep, I mean, yeah, your opponent can't make as big of a tempo turn.
A huge amount of care and attention Fr0zen is paying to get rid of this Octobot in case he gets Shadow Stepped, by the way. He was really seriously considering devolving there, but did in the end use 3 of his cards, leaving his Penflinger exposed to get rid of it. That's kind of interesting to me as well.
Too quiet.
Yeah, Penflinger is like a luxury at this point, I feel. It just it doesn't feel like a high impact card from this point forward, so I'm fine with that. I like it. He's not going to be able to clear up much of this. Fr0zen's turn was just too good. He could Penflinger 1, Shadow Step, hold on to the Penflinger for the next turn, and then end with killing like the Guardian Augmergents on the other side. Then you're leaving up Wand Thief, you're leaving up Octobot.
You've got a 5-mana Golem that's starting to look a little bit 5-mana-y.
Yeah.
At least it's not a 10-mana Golem, though. You see how bad those things are? They don't even win the game. You just attack your opponent with them and then concede. It's a strange Golem, the 10. I was going to learn how they worked, but someone today, Letter, just...
I mean, you just always pick Gabby, right? It's just a play.
I mean... Yes.
I mean, if I could pick a Gabby Golem from Kazakus, I'd do it every time.
A Gabby Golem? What would that do?
I don't know.
We'll work that out later after this turn, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll work it out at some point. We usually go back to things from time to time. Fr0zen looking to reduce his hand, which will be pretty crazy because he's then going to have double Neophyte, which he'll need to use at the right time, I guess. And obviously the reduced field contact. And the amount of damage he's doing means he can afford to give up some of this spell damage he's giving up here.
Is the right time immediately?
It could be. It could be just right now. And so you're intending to hit your opponent for sort of 10 or 12 just on the board.
It would leave him stranded in hand with no draw for the field contact.
Aha.
So it looks like he's going to prep counterspell Dagger. Perfectly fine with this.
Yep. Yeah, it's just asking a lot of questions.
In fact, I'm not just fine with it. I am downright chuffed.
Chuffed to bits. Alright, looks like a little window of opportunity here for No Hands. Only a little one, but chance just to get some stuff on board. He's looking at that 5-mana Golem and wishing it was a Gabby Golem.
Maybe it is. We actually don't know. It could be exactly what a Gabby Golem looks like.
I mean, he starts off with Great, so there's a possibility.
I mean, the Gabby special is when you get a Kazakus off of Vanessa Van Cleef, and then it's inactive because you still have your own Kazakus in your deck.
Yep. We don't make mistakes like that here.
You play it anyway to assert dominance.
And then still win most of the time, whatever. Yeah.
And then still win, yeah.
Alright, well, No Hands had to have a vanish my own stuff back to my hand turn, which doesn't seem like good timing because Fr0zen has picked up card draw. Oh, this is going to hurt. Yep. By card draw, I mean a prize plunderer. But you know what I mean.
Hey, he's only got 6 mana, though. Like...
He is doing a lot of actual damage from the board, though, and this makes it so that your Garots don't really need to... You get into this weird mini combo state where you need to hit with, like, a bleed or something like that later on.
Yeah, or just, you know, Shadow Step back to field contact, stop there, say, 2 gold Neophytes is probably good enough to stop my opponent from doing anything meaningful next turn, and just push the extra damage. Definitely a fan of this.
Yeah, it's just so much damage. And No Hands showed last turn that he wasn't really able to do much about the board. Well, 1 extra mana and 1 extra card probably doesn't change that much, especially when you've denied, or at least ruined, Brain Freezes with your own Neophytes. He has to take the Ice Barrier, but he can't play it.
It's 5 mana.
It's more than
holy moly! I guess just cold Neophytes and hope that that buys you enough time. I mean, he has been slowly getting through the rest of his deck. Like, he's got 12 cards remaining, which is not the worst thing in the world, but
I mean, Fr0zen can just shuffle in.
Ah, it's a 5-mana golem.
Yeah, it's just it's still there, man. Yeah. You called it at the time.
It's quiet.
5 is a lot.
Too quiet.
It's 4 more than 1.
Give me that.
I mean, it's the difference between if you got 1 win in a week of Grandmasters.
Or
1 point.
5. Yeah.
5 wins. It's the difference between first place and 12th place.
It is. That's a big difference, man.
Which is huge.
But on this
It's the
occasion,
opposite, because it looks
like
golf scores right now. Less is better.
Yeah, it is. Especially, that's how Europe won the Ryder Cup, right? By getting less than America.
I don't know what that is.
The Ryder Cup is America versus Europe, and it's really, really close, and Europe aren't getting thrashed at all.
And what? Hearthstone? Racing?
Golf.
Equestrian sports?
Yes, equestrian sports. And curling. And Nordic downhill.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. Get in there.
You're paying for my discretion. You're paying for my discretion.
I mean, sure. So, Fr0zen has 7 on the board. If you can find a way for 6 bleeds, well, Garrote and 5 bleeds to go face, or 2 Garrotes and 4 bleeds. Plus they've got spell damage, so that's even fewer. So he needs to hit with just his Garrote and its bleedy friends. And he has a secret passage, that's lethal, right? You just play the Garrote.
Play the Garrote,
swindle.
I'm almost out of cards.
And then you passage, and you're guaranteed to have enough mana to find the others?
You're paying for my discretion.
Now,
this way is fine.
Garrote swindle.
Yeah. He's going to swindle him.
Get swindled, noob.
Fr0zen.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
No. Hold up.
Oh.
Choose soon.
That ain't it.
Whoa. Seven on board. It's... What?
Okay.
What?
So with 3 bleeds in deck and 1 Garrote, he just drew the Garrote. He needed 2 bleeds and then the Garrote. Oh no, lifesteal!
No Hands was packing up.
So that was a 50%
admins
chance?
That he was at the
Lethal,
airport
right?
and everything. Yeah, but it should have been 100%, I'm pretty sure.
Was there a way to get 100% though, Neil?
So, there's a world where you secret passage, and I don't know if there was enough mana, unfortunately, where you secret passage, and whether you hit the bleeds or the Garrote, you just cast them hard. And you only need to cast 2 or 3.
Yeah, he would have needed to cast 3.
Right.
And he had 3 natural cards in his deck, so there's a chance that he can only cast 1 or cast 2 in that situation.
But you swindle first to find out what the situation is. I think maybe he didn't have enough mana for it, but I thought that was enough mana to do that.
I think you'd only have enough mana for 2 bleeds if you swindle first.
Okay. But then you're a massive chance to hit one. I suppose that's the same as what he did.
Yeah.
And what was the other card in the deck? That was it. That was just the Garrote. Okay.
Yeah, it was a Garrote and 3 bleeds. And the healing from the devolving missiles as well is the only thing that's keeping him alive. And now it's Ice Barrier, so he loses the game. Because he's going to think that wow, okay, game over. He's going to hope that it's not Ice Barrier. But it is Ice Barrier. I mean, at that point, do you just not devolving missiles? Like, I think he just thought that he would win. And so he just ripped devolving missiles like, let me just try and reduce power real quick. But...
well,
the lifesteal card is what lost him the game. Because look, he gained 3 life. It would have still been lethal. There was just bleeds left in the deck. And now he's going to Secret Passage. He's going to play the Olgra. And it's Ice Barrier.
The other way, he takes 12 from the board, though, or 10, depending how he chose to trade. And No Hands was getting through his own deck, so he would only have to have done 16 or something like that.
Okay.
His own way. So I think from where Fr0zen sat, those two big 5/5 Divine Shield guys, it was just a lot of damage that gave No Hands not necessarily a guaranteed victory, but a chance to, here's some Garrotes, here's some spell damage, what can I do, might fluke it. So
yeah.
It's 2-all, obviously, because we haven't called this result. We knew it was going 2-all. We said we wanted to see the death rattle of Demon Hunter, and Fr0zen has obliged. Thanks.
Fr0zen's just doing us a solid. But that is unfortunate in many ways for Fr0zen. Like, even after that, he still had that locked up. It had to be exactly healing and Ice Barrier. Like, that's the only way he loses, because he had the damage. He had 15 points of damage ready to go with 12 damage of bleeds plus the Ogre from the deck, which was guaranteed, even if it was like counterspell, right? Because he had 2 secret passages and enough mana to hard cast it. So it had to be lifesteal and Ice Barrier. It could have been like a scavenger. The halftime scavenger as the other 4-drop, which could have traded over a minion on the board and gained armor. I think that minion's in standard. I honestly have no idea. But multiple, a couple of outs there for No Hands. So that is one, probably not the cleanest last turn. I'm sure there's a way to do it cleaner. I'm actually going to go back and look right now to see.
Have a look at the space where Fr0zen has 4 mana left, because on that very quick flashback there, it looked like he had Secret Passage in hand and only 4 cards in deck, in which case those 4 cards are Garrote and 3 Bleeds. So if I've got it right, and again I caught like a 1-second glimpse of it, I'm not nailing my colours to this particular mast, I think he had 4 mana, a Secret Passage, 4 cards in deck. He could play the passage and cast the 3 Bleeds that he was guaranteed to draw, and that could be wrong. But you're looking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the beginning of the turn. So he has 8. Hold on one second. Let me look at the very beginning.
4 to 4. This is 0. This is 8. 4's here.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking for the actual.
That's fine.
8 mana.
Go. Meanwhile, we're going to have the
talk about a Neil thing in the meantime.
Talk about a Neil thing. Okay.
Tell a Neil joke.
I've done this to you. Now I understand it. I've done this to you before. It's like talk on demand, and you're like, can't actually talk on demand. It's not what I do.
You're doing great. Keep it up.
In a hilarious manner. How far have we got to go? Are we nearly there yet? Are we nearly there yet? Has the ship like
almost there?
Come back? Almost there. So it's going to be Death Rattle Demon Hunter, and it's going to be some rogues. Are you nearly there yet? Are we nearly there? We good?
Almost. Almost there.
Are we nearly there yet? Dad.
Almost there.
Cool.
Just a couple more seconds.
Just round this bend, right?
Keep it up.
Just get on this ship and
talk about boats or whatever it is that you like. Give me something. Show me some passion.
I'm showing passion. I'm going to show more passion in a minute. I'm going to start shouting loudly.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So
I did it.
Three cards in deck at that given moment. I don't remember exactly what the 3 cards were. It was 2 minions plus a Garrote. Okay. He draws Shroud off the top with 8 mana. Garrote costs 0, 2 secret passages that cost 2, and a Swindle that costs 2. So if he goes Garrote, and he needs he has +1 spell damage on board with 7 damage showing, so he needs 12 damage worth of bleeds. So from the natural Garrote, he would need 3 bleeds, or 2 bleeds plus the other Garrote. He could start with Swindle, which would draw the spell. No combo, just draw the spell, right? And so then that would be 2 mana gone. Then he could hard cast the Garrote and hard cast the second Garrote, which would take up 4 total mana of his turn. And then Secret Passage, at that point he would have 8 cards left in deck, 6 of which are bleeds, and he would need 1 from the Secret Passage.
There you go.
I think that's a higher likelihood than what he did, which he had 4 spells in deck, and with 3 being bleeds and 1 Garrote, and needed to hit 2 bleeds before the Garrote.
But if there's 6 bleeds and 2 cards that aren't bleeds in your Secret Passage, if there's only 2 cards that aren't bleeds, the other 2 have to be bleeds. So
it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed. Yeah. So there was a guaranteed lethal that turn. We solved it.
We got there, and I didn't have to talk about boats for very long.
I mean, to be fair, right? We're not saying, Fr0zen, what a noob. You missed the guaranteed lethal. That took us, what, 7 minutes?
I mean,
I had to go back and look at the
It felt like forever. Honestly, it's like talk forever, Neil. Just keep talking. We're nearly there. We're not quite there. It felt like the whole broadcast flashed before my eyes, honestly.
Yeah, so, like, kind of trying to figure that out with that limited amount of time, I understand.
Anyway, TJ, you wanted to see this
deck.
That. Oh, no.
He still had a good chance of lethal. All right, okay. Death Rattle Demon
Tell me why you wanted
Hunters.
to see this deck. What's so exciting about playing Death Rattle minions on curve?
No, that's it. You just get to play Death Rattle minions on curve. That's the game.
It's immensely hard for the rogue to clear them up, though, right? Like, the rogue's plan normally against something like this would be to try and get some board, blow up some minions along the way, sort of progress your game plan, but this time blow up the minions along the way and they just come back.
Another funny little point there. It took us a while to get into that game, not because our production team was waiting for us to finish our explanation of the previous game, but because Fr0zen thought that it was 2-2 and that he had lost and lost the series.
Amazing. Absolutely.
So that's why he was smiling coming into this one, because from Fr0zen's perspective, this is a free game.
He thought it was the night that Fr0zen's throne, right? Alright, so he's trying to... I've just ruined TJ. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. Right. He's gone. I've just
that one took me a second. That was really good. 10 out of 10, Neil.
Yes.
10 out of 10. Topical, clever, unique, just beautiful. Perfectly executed. Oh, man.
All right. 10. It's taken all this time. He's still got a minion on the board. He's delivering damage. NoHandsGamer has got a good hand, and I think my casting partner has finally returned. Do you want to field contact and shadow step here to have a nice setup going into next turn? I'd like to do that.
Yeah, it's a little awkward to secret passage with 3 mana remaining, but he might end up doing that. Devolving Missiles is a huge pickup also. Like, stopping the chain of minions right now also has some benefit. He could do both of those things, right? He could field contact, shadow step the field contact, and Devolving Missiles, which would stop a lot of the pressure. It seemed
got a lot of stuff in this passage.
Yep. This will pull out the Devouring Ectoplasma. It's an ectoplasm. I put a little emphasis on that for no reason whatsoever. Just one of those.
Okay. It's getting that way, isn't it? It's getting that way.
Yeah.
Thing is, we're always in pieces because we have to watch the other 2 regions do it and then do it ourselves.
All right. So, Fr0zen hasn't really been playing in a way that would say there's a skull in outcast position. Mm-hmm. But you could probably assume that that's a possibility. And so getting this Cold Neophyte out has a ton of merit. Though if you do that, you're probably doing it alongside a field contact, and then you're not really making any defensive maneuvers, and there's 7 damage on board. All right, he's going to rip Devolving Missiles. Those are Demon Hunter cards.
Yeah.
That gains, that's the thing that gains stats for Outcast. That's the thing that gives you a free hero power.
All right. Well, that's pretty useless then.
What is it? Altruist and the Deadeye?
Altruist. I didn't know that still existed.
It's not Altruist, is it?
No, Altruist is...
No. Redeemed Pariah. Redeemed Pariah. Sorry.
Okay.
And then Felfire Deadeye was correct.
Altruist back in the day was great, then they nerfed it, and now the Altruist ship has sailed. No Hands is trying to jam up the skull, but he's down to 19. And we can see the Blackthorn in hand is just going to be a massive problem. No Hands really needs to to go off. We did see Fr0zen do something similar a couple of games ago to win on turn, what, 7? But he had a million Octobots while he was waiting, was the difference.
Yeah, I mean, NoHands has still gotten through a large portion of his deck. Like, if he just goes with the field contact this turn, he could be setting up for a 7 lethal. We'll see.
Need it.
Taking a look at what Blackthorn can pull, there's still ways that he can fight back on board. He's got one Fell Rattler, he's got double Renowned Performer. What he probably doesn't want to see is like the Beastmasters, because they have no immediate effect on board and he doesn't have any other death metals in hand.
Okay.
He's just dead to an Inquisitor, because there's the
but I mean, you always are,
now.
right? Yeah, you're always dead to an Inquisitor. That's kind of how the game works. But he's managed to, by blocking that skull, he's managed to slow down the dead to Inquisitor clock by 3 turns, which is nice. Because obviously the 5 mana ones, you know, they kill you fast.
Alright. Well, Fr0zen's got the Inquisitor out for a game ender. Draws a boar. Okay, he's looking for rush things here.
Yeah, that would be nice, because then he could actually insert the other damage to face. Missed. Decision time. He's decided he's not putting that 4-3 into a 3-2.
You get rid of the field contact for sure, but nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, and NoHands with no reductions. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it, but this is going to be very hard. He probably has to hit an Octobot off the first card draw to have any chance.
Yep. There they are. Both Octobots, bottom 7. That's kind of rough.
He's got both preps, so...
So many options.
Ooh, but is there a chain of events?
Discounts first.
4, 6, 7...
I mean,
7 cards.
2 minions sticking is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead. He's real dead.
And this is huge for Fr0zen, because he was not in desperate trouble, but certainly needed points to get away from these relegation issues. And this is monstrously good for him, and he thought he had lost.
He thought he had lost. That's the funniest part. He's like, oh no. There we go. Now he gets to walk away from his computer in a much better mood than the previous time he walked away from his computer after the last game, thinking that the series was over, because Fr0zen is moving on to the finals. It's going to be Rami versus Fr0zen. 2 players that were in the relegation picture going into this week. Fr0zen not, you know, exactly in there, right? I think he was right on the edge, right on the bubble.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least tied for being on the bubble. Rami, though, was dead last. So both players desperately needed points, and they delivered in week 6.
Yeah, and that's bad news for Kayle's Luna and Luna Love. They're both going to be dragged into that relegation fight going on next week. Dmitry Kazov should be safe, but he would be next in line for... If he gets 0 and everybody else goes crazy getting points, he's the next in line for potential relegation, but he should be okay. He's looking more upwards than downwards, I think. And below that, I mean, the ones that I went without saying, but Eddie, Ego, Waffle, Killing All Day, all finding themselves getting stranded a little bit behind. They're going to need good weeks. Killing's going to have to do it for the 2nd time in a row, like escape on the final day.